take this opportunity to welcome everybody to the third annual Southeastern Oklahoma State University Rodeo Hall of Fame, and we are so glad to have this cool crowd that's here with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I've noticed as I've looked around, we've got a very different crowd than maybe from the first year that we were here, but we want you to know that you're our honored guests. We're glad to have each and every one of you here with us tonight. And as we get ready to go to our buffet, I am about to bring on a young man that I'm extremely proud of, B.J. Davis. He is a former alumni, or a alumni, of the Southeastern Rodeo team. And B.J. is going to come up here. He's going to give our invocation. And as B.J. makes his way up, I want to tell you, when he says amen, then what you're going to be able to do is you'll see the doors open on the back side. You'll be able to go to the buffet line and then make your way back around and then come sit down, and then we're going to start our program. B.J., if you would, bless our food.
If you would, remove all headwear and bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank you for bringing us here all together safely. And Father, please help us on our way home to make it safely, and just please bless this food to the nourishment of our body. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to get the program started. And we want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And we have a very special program planned for everyone. And we're pleased to recognize the current members of the Southeastern Rodeo Hall of Fame in attendance tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please make welcome Mr. Roy Cooper. Roy, if you would, please stand up. Mr. Jerry Bigley and Miss Lori Shoulders, if you would, please stand up. And we are so excited to have every one of those members being here tonight as we celebrate the third annual Southeastern Oklahoma State University Rodeo Hall of Fame. Also, as we get ready to do everything, I want to welcome a guy that I think supports this program like I've never seen it supported in a long time. I want you to welcome to the stage the president of Southeastern Oklahoma State University, Mr. Sean Burridge.
Thank you, Jody. Welcome to Southeastern tonight. You know, we've set a Southeastern record tonight. We have the most quarter-ton and ton dualies parked on the loop in the history of the university. Even more than when you were here, Roy. And I got to tell you, I've been here. This is my 5th year. My most memorable night as the president of Southeastern was in the fall. I think it was 2014, when Roy Cooper went to the Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame. I didn't know much about Roy. I grew up in Antlers, born here. I thought I knew a lot about cowboys, and then Roy started his speech. Roy told that group that he got a better deal at Southeastern than Brian Bosworth got at OU. But I think, you know, I grew up in Antlers, not much of a cowboy. I like wearing cowboy and jeans, but I mean, one thing for the old timers, I was Clem McSpadden's state senator. How about that? So, welcome to Southeastern. We're so glad you're here. We're so proud of this program. Thank you, Keith Baxter. Thank you, Christy. You do a great job. We value your leadership and value the students you bring to campus, and I couldn't be more proud to be your boss. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Burridge. And I will say this, through the course of the last several years, I've become really good friends with President Burridge. And I appreciate the fact that he pointed out that we had so many 3/4 tons and 1 tons and all that on campus. I want to tell you right now, I'm a bona fide rancher. My feed truck's in the shop. My good truck is in the shop. And I'm in my 2001 Sonoma that I gave $800 for to get here tonight. And so, President Burridge, That's the reason why I have a 1.0 GPA average at Southeastern, because all I can do is try. But we do appreciate all the support that you give us, and you know, deep down inside, I'm just an old announcer, cow guy, whatever it may be. My heroes have always been cowboys, the Ronnie Bowmans of the world, whatever it may be, the Roy Coopers, Barry Burke, my heroes. I'm just so honored to get the fact of being the MC for this deal. But, you know, with that being said, I'm going way off script. There's a lady that makes all this happen for the Southeastern Rodeo team. And I was very fortunate, very privileged to get to go to college with her and her husband at little old junior college. And then they come on down here and they finished everything up. But the lady that's the rodeo team coach, I consider one of my near and dear friends. And gosh, like I said, I'm way off script. But I want y'all to welcome a lady to this stage that I think deserves so much credit. I want you to welcome the rodeo team coach for Southeastern Oklahoma State University, Christy Broderick.
Hello. I would like to welcome everybody back. This year I see a lot of returning people, so it's kind of exciting. I'm proud to be standing here this evening. I'm going to read a little script because I kind of get off course a little bit. I actually grew up as a kid when these two gentlemen we're going to induct tonight were in the program here, so I know, a little bit about them. Hopefully tonight I'll learn more about them through their stories they're going to share. But I'm honored to be here. I'm glad to be part of a program I was once part of again. But I'm mainly here because of the alumni, and every year I try not to do this, but and Betty Gale, who pretty much set the bar really high when I was here and before me. And I remember kind of like it was yesterday that she and I were on the way to a rodeo and we were having a conversation, and I remember actually telling her I thought she had the best job in the whole world, and she started laughing at me and she said, "Well, how much do you think I make?" And I said, "I don't know. I mean, at this time in my life I thought you make $1 million, because who wouldn't want to be a rodeo coach and be on horses and around kids and doing stuff you love every day? I mean, that's a no-brainer to me." But now that I'm older and I've actually taken over some of what she dealt with, I understand a lot better where she's coming from on things. But I realize the sport of rodeo is not really about what you make, your salary. Really, we all know that it takes a lot to do what we do. But if it helps kids reach their goals, my greatest moments being a coach are graduation. Secondly, watching them make the CNFR, if they do well there. And some kids, even just making a short round is, an accolade they can put in their resume that means a lot to them. Just depends. And I'm proud of even the kids that don't even get that far, because they do put in the work here. That's one thing I learned when I was here, was how to work. I had blisters on my hands one summer from painting fences here. So Betty Gill, if nothing else, she taught me how to work, and I always will owe her for that. But I've been fortunate to be here, and I think events like these are important because it gives all of us a chance to reconnect and reminisce on times that we spent here that was special to us. And every year I love hearing the stories. I have plenty myself, of people when they were here and things they did. But tonight we're going to honor James Ward and Jimmy Cleveland, two individuals who have done just an outstanding job while they were members of the rodeo team. We're going to recognize their accomplishments by inducting them into the Southeastern Hall of Fame. There's been 5 individuals that have, distinguished individuals that have established and contributed 5 different scholarships offered through the Southeastern Foundation for the rodeo program. I'm just going to go through those real fast because those are an important part of our program here. The Betty Gail Cooper Ratliff Scholarship, BC and Molly Lee Farrell Memorial Scholarship, Joe F. and Vandoy Gary Scholarship, Ken Lance and Ruth Lance Wester Rodeo Scholarship, and Ruth is here with us tonight. We appreciate her each year. And the Cindy Ann Perrin Scholarship. Also, it takes a lot to put this on, and I would also like to thank all of our sponsors for their continued support, and for those in attendance tonight who make events like this possible, and there's so many to list. One sponsor, I'm going to go through these real quickly. Texas Feed Fat, Cecily. We couldn't do this without her. She's truly an asset to our committee. Big V Feeds, they were the first company that actually got on board with me, and I really appreciate Big V Feeds. R&R Signs, Choctaw Casinos and Resorts, Rick's Boots and Outfitters, and the Studeville Auto Group. So those companies, local companies, are a big part of our program. I want to thank the committee who meets once a month throughout the year. Thank you for all the alumni coming back and supporting everything we do. I would also like to thank Sodexo Food Services and the staff for providing our meal tonight. I would also like to thank Sue Haywood and Stephanie Davison for the decorations and the setup and helping me with the raffle giveaways. Dave Campbell for putting all of the visual and print work together for me. And especially thank you, Jody House, for my college algebra buddy that we struggled in that class together. But it was, I've known him since I was 18 years old, so proud to know him. And at this time, I just want to recognize, if you're on the Southeastern Rodeo team right now, if you wouldn't mind standing up, and I'm just going to recognize you. You guys can sit down. Thank you. We've had this is my 6th year here, and like I said, the main reason I came back is it just meant so much to me when I was here. And we've done pretty well the last 6 years. It's built up to what it is, I feel like now. But I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those kids, and it's a real honor to get to coach a lot of who I have on my team right now. But at this time, I think I'm going to turn it back over to Jody so we can start the inductions.
As I do this, and as a great announcer would once do, you just play the time just a little bit and go with it. But as Christy was talking about, we just, again, this is off script and whatnot, but thank the sponsors. Thank the people that support this program so much. And gosh, as I look out here right now, Ted Kirkpatrick, I just want you to know something. Appreciate you, sir. We took our picture together a while ago, and I told you that be a picture that's going to be hanging in my house, because all of us white-haired guys, we hang out together. When I was introducing the Hall of Fame guys a while ago, and to be real honest with you, I pointed out Ronnie Bowman. Ronnie Bowman was in the Hall of Fame last year, but Ronnie Bowman is my biggest hero in my whole life. And I appreciate everything Ronnie Bowman and his wife, who was my third grade teacher that taught me how to do math. I appreciate everything that you've ever done for me. But with that being said, we will now begin our awards portion of the program. And I would ask each of our award recipients this evening to join me at the podium at the conclusion of our audio introductions, and I'm reading the script now, at which time they will introduce their family members and special guests to offer remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, roll that beautiful video. James Ward is a native of Odessa, Texas, and started his rodeo career at a very early age, entering his first competitions at around age 8. He would put together an impressive junior career in the American Junior Rodeo Association, winning a pair of steer riding championships before moving up an age class to earn 2 junior bull riding titles and eventually a pair of junior bareback riding championships. He would follow his successful junior career by taking his talents to eastern New Mexico, where he was a national runner-up in the bull riding at the CNFR as a freshman in 1974 while helping his team to a national championship. He would follow that up in 1975 with a runner-up finish in the bareback competition while helping Eastern New Mexico University to a top 5 finish. He would then transfer to Southeastern, where he would come in as a junior after sitting out the first semester and reel off enough wins to take home the regional title in the bareback riding, as well as placing in the bull riding and saddle bronc riding, thus earning a Central Plains Region All-Around Championship in 1976. He would go on to parlay that into national titles in both bareback riding and all-around, all while helping Southeastern to its first 5 straight men's national championships. As a senior in 1977, Ward repeated as the region champion in both the bareback riding and the all-around competition, but suffered a knee injury during the pro appearance prior to the CNFR and was unable to compete at the finals. During his senior season, he had competed nationally and worked himself into a top 15 on the pro circuit, but devoted his weekends during the season to the collegiate work. Once he returned to the professional trail with his brother, he would suffer a neck injury on July 4th at Red Lodge, Montana, which would eventually require surgery and end his professional career way too soon. James would then turn to training barrel horses with his father-in-law and would go on to train horses for his wife and daughters who have qualified for multiple national finals rodeos. Well, as I introduce this guy right here, I want to say that I'd love a picture of that one where that bull is stretched out like it was. If I could have a picture of that, I think it'd be kind of cool because I collect rodeo memorabilia. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please welcome to the stage right now, James Ward.
Here we go.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank everybody here at Southeastern for this. This is a heck of an honor for me. But I'm going to get down right to it and let you know how I got here. Roy Cooper and I had talked before this ever got started about where we rodeoed in the southern region down there, South Central. And all of our rodeos were one-header rodeos. We could go to the NFR or the CNFR and have points from your best 5 rodeos back in that day you took to the finals with you. We could have 5 first and not get there and be setting 4th, 5th, 6th in the nation. So we kind of got to thinking that these other regions that had the long goes, short goes were getting a whole lot more points than we were. And it was almost impossible for us to win a national championship, individual championship. And so when Roy come to me in 1975, and I don't know what rodeo it was or what, but he said that Dr. Hibbs had contacted Ernie Taylor to put together a men's and women's rodeo team here at Southeastern. And we got started. There was Roy, myself, Steve Bland, Buster Record, Billy Teague, Phil Longacre, George Enlow, and my roommate, Jerry Beagley. I'd never met this guy before. Well, we rented an apartment building down here. It was off of Main Street, a couple of blocks, big red building, 4 apartments in it. We had 3 of them. Every now and then somebody'd move in that other apartment, but they didn't stay very long. I don't know why. But now, not knowing Jerry Beagley, but I knew he was from Kansas. I didn't know people from Kansas had that many clothes. He did not have to do laundry for 8 weeks. And so I finally just asked him if he'd just make sure there was a trail so I could get to my bed and to the bathroom. That would be just fine with me. He had the rest of the apartment. So the second year when Betty Gale came, there was a lot more kids showed up. And I mean, there was a lot of fun. We had people then that come in and played defense for us at the college rodeos. And that left Southeastern winning. I think they won every men's and women's rodeo that year, team title, because we had people that would fill in slots that we didn't have the year before, where some of them other schools could win seconds and thirds. Of course, we didn't let them have any first. But also that year I met my wife here. So that was a good year. And then over the 4th of July, after I broke my neck and everything, and I started training these barrel horses. I did that for 28 years, and then I quit doing that, and I went to work at a Halliburton for about 9 years, and I finally got old enough to retire. But, you know, after my knee injury and not getting to go to the 4th year of college, that would kind of set me back a little bit. And I thought I was well enough to get back out on the road over the 4th of July. I think I was sitting 9th in the bull riding, 10th in the bareback riding in PRCA. Broke my neck, so that kind of was a bad deal. But, you know, after it's all over, said and done, I was really lucky, because there's my family. Every one of them. And if you've got that, you've got everything. Thank you.
Well, I bet if he could tell a few more stories, I bet it would be a little more interesting, because the guy sitting straight in front of me, Roy Cooper, I bet could tell a few, but Roy, you're not allowed in front of the microphone. Congratulations, James. We appreciate everything you've done. All right, with that being said, we go to our second honoree. Ladies and gentlemen, let's roll the video on our second honoree, Jimmy Cleveland. Jimmy Cleveland is a native of Hollis, Oklahoma, and grew up in rodeo, beginning his competitive career in amateur rodeo at 14 years old. He was accomplished in tie-down and soon took up steer wrestling and added rough stock events to his list of competitions. He worked every event in rodeo and became an asset to Southeastern's men's rodeo team from 1977 to 1981. Cleveland contributed every year, helping the men's team qualify to the CNFR and winning a national championship in each season he competed at the CNFR. He would also earn his own CNFR national title in the bareback riding in 1979. Cleveland won the International Professional Rodeo Association's bareback riding in 1974 and won the all-around in 1975, working the rough stock and timed event end of the arena. He qualified to the International Finals Rodeo at finals number 4 through 7 in the bareback riding and bull riding. He earned the highest score of 84 at IFR 4 and a score of 90 at IFR 6. He was able to capture the bareback riding average at IFRs 4, 5, and 6, and while also posting very high riding percentage in the bull riding. Cleveland went on to rodeo in the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association and was a 2-time National Finals qualifier. In 1981, he won the average in the bareback riding at the NFR, scoring 765 points in 10 rounds of competition. Cleveland is often referred to as one of the greatest bareback riders and credited to being one of the most analytical of all time by many of his peers. Cleveland and his family currently reside in Spicewood, Texas. Chrissy's going to go ahead and present the buckle.
In fact, I started to stay home when I was invited to come up here, long drive. I didn't know there were as many people here. I wasn't going to see Ronnie Bowman and Barry Burke and Roy Cooper. And I'm going to be a little long-winded tonight because I love rodeo. And another thing is, I think team rodeo is the best thing there was going for rodeo. Roy Cooper, the year I got in, he taught me into going to college rodeo, by the way. He went team rodeo, but he didn't get no $750 fine. I got a $750 fine next year for team rodeo. I wonder how that worked out, you know. But what Roger said, until it becomes a key effort, it ain't never going to be a success. And so I love team rodeo, and I thought if they'd kept it going, it'd have been a great concept. But it didn't. Of course, I'm not a big fan of PRCA, of course. It goes a long ways back. In fact, back to when I was 16 years old, I got in their hometown in Lawton, Oklahoma with Cotton Kenny. And when I was 16, I drew 2 of the worst horses you could draw, Tall Timber and Turkey Tracks. Nobody ever, you might have remembered that name. Nobody wanted to get on. But I was riding against Frank Rhodes. And they let Frank Rhodes beat me out first place. I don't know how it ever happened, but it happened. But the next year, I was 17 in their hometown. And I grew Little Ruby at Cotton Kenny's, Bucking Horse of the Year. And I had Freckles Brown and Gerald Roberts judging. And being a hometown cowboy at Lawton, they was cheering so loud for me I couldn't hear the whistle. And Little Ruby went out there spinning. I marked 86 points from Freckles Brown and Gerald Roberts. And I think Clyde Van Voort was a 74 behind me. Jim Houston, Ace Berry, all them guys. And Freckles and Gerald wanted to sign for me that year. You know, my friend said, Jimmy, they'll screw you to death. You're too young. And what are you going to do about them rodeos you love, like Stanford and Canadian and Dalhart and all them places you love to go? Because when Mahan won 50,000 in 79, or 69, I won 48,000 and slept in my own bed every night. It wasn't until I joined Pro Rodeo that things started going downhill. You know, IRA was okay because it had only fall rodeo. Longhorn was the best rodeo. Red Lynn, that's classics. And I joined that in October, and I said, well, what kind of money does it take to make it to the finals? And they laughed at me, you know, Butch Stewart and Ronnie Williams, some of them guys that really liked me. I said, you ain't gonna make it. Well, I won the first ever rodeo that fall, made it to the finals and set the record. And the next year, they didn't know I rode bulls, Ronnie. That was one of my main events, so I got to where I didn't like them. And so they had that little speckle bull up there, never got rode before. And he just got through going to the finals and throwing Gerald Bunch off because he would back up and spin and put him over her head. And I said, well, spur him in the shoulders. Get away from that jerk down. And they laughed at me because they didn't know I was a bull rider. So I won the bull ride. I was the only person to ever ride that bull until they poisoned him 2 years later. But they just put him in the parade through Mesa, Arizona, parading about how he's unrideable. And I started spurring him right outside the gate to the right, and then switched to the left. And they put him on the cover of McDonald's, tried to sell rodeos on Longhorn rodeos. You saw that. That didn't work out too good. But I'm going to talk a while because I love rodeo and you need to spend some time, okay? So settle down. Oh. So I joined the PRCA after winning I only went to 72, 75 rodeos because I still made my amateur rodeos I love to go to. But I wound up winning the bareback riding all around, and so that was okay. I never chased a buck all my life. But them other guys going to 130, 140, you know. And I only went to 57 and 56 and 52. Wound up second in the bull riding or first in the bareback riding year or whatever, all around. It made no difference. But I learned about livestock growing up. And how I learned was from old cowboys. And the guy saying around rodeo, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying hard enough. Well, my way of cheating wasn't really cheating. You know, I grew up in Hollis, Oklahoma. And if you don't know where Hollis is, it's right in the southwest corner of Oklahoma, 4 miles from Texas one way and 6 the other. And all this around here is dry. My mom owns a club outside town called Fuzzies. Anybody know what Fuzzies is in Hollis? Barry knows. The cue sticks are all broke. The bullet holes in the ceiling. Because when them cowboys come off the 4.6s and the Matador and the Spur and Mill Iron and oh my gosh, they're all around there, around the corner of Oklahoma. They don't want to go home. They want to get drunk, but they don't want to go home. And however, Drummond and the sheriff was too scared to go there. Wasn't they, Barry? It's a tough place. So, back then, them ranch hands were in rodeos. Nowadays, you tell them you're a rodeo cowboy, you ain't going to get a job at the ranch. But, you know, it's like Stanford, Texas. All the old cowboys come out for the double mugging and the old timers roping. And they got every event in rodeo, an hour-and-a-half grand entry. Still the greatest rodeo ever going. 5-piece brass band, 3 dances, fiddle contest, spur contest. It don't get no better than that. Grand entry, hour-and-a-half long. So that's the best run down hard. So my rookie year, I went to Cheyenne, and I just tell them the truth. They said, well, hey, rookie, I was supposed to win the average hands down that horse that was spinning on Rodeo News, and they let Jimmy Dix beat me. I don't know how that happened, but he did. And I wound up winning second. And the reporter comes and said, hey, rookie, what do you think about Big Time Rodeo, the daddy of them all? And I thought about it a second. You don't want to hear what I got to say. So I said, if this is a daddy of them all, I'd just assume be a bastard. That's all that could come out. But I was telling the truth. Excuse me. That year, it was the calf roper. It was the President Dale Smith. Oh, Dale Smith. I thought he was the reason everything was wrong with rodeo. My God. All these Masonic rodeos, the Freemasons, the Shriners, all these people that I hate anyhow, putting on rodeos on the West Coast, and I got to go to them. And so they had a carnival there. And then, being from Oklahoma, you know, Will Rogers never met a man he didn't like. So I had a bunch of T-shirts that Will Rogers never met Dale Smith, and give them to everybody I could give them to. He got beat that year. I'm just telling the truth. I'm like Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect. I grew up in some of the toughest environment. Charlie Plummer, you go to one of his rodeos, you make a whole year, you're going to make it as a cowboy. He's going to kill you off or you're going to make it. And I seen a lot of tough bull riders come to this rodeo, never showed up again. You know. But anyhow, I grew up with Freddie Cordell and Red Watley and Charlie Plummer, Edgar Wilson. I went to about the same 7 or 8 producers every year, but I knew every bull in the herd. I knew just in my mind how to ride him. And I had a solid working job. I worked too. As a framer for Buckiness Rodeo, but anytime I needed to get off, I'd get off. So I made 80 rodeos a year. So I rode 80 bulls in 68. I rode 80 bulls in 69. This is George Paul. I'm going to Ardmore. He's riding these 79 great head. And next year I rode 80 bulls straight again. I rode 240 head of bulls and never got thrown off. I don't know how to tell you any different. And when I first got thrown off, I thought my bull riding career was over with. So Ronnie Bowen knows. He judged me in Ardmore before. I had that bar 69 they showed, and nobody ever marked the 90 in Ardmore, but Dale Smith had him and throwed everybody off, and PR said, Big Bramer. You remember him, Ronnie? And he's spinning right there in the gate. I thought they was going to shut the gate on my knee. I looked off right at the whistle, and Ronnie marked me 45 on one side, so that means Freckles would probably mark me, but he had to watch, and he couldn't read good because I knew I'd made the whistle. And I didn't get to win Ardmore with 90 points that year, but it was a heck of a bull ride, wasn't it, Ronnie? Ronnie don't bark anybody 45 points. It ain't by accident. So my bull riding career ended at a college rodeo in '73. A bull, grade 5, Freddie Cordell, this little gal I was dating won the all-around buckle, and Jim Fuller was winning the all-around. And I thought, well, I better spread his shoulder and the neck just to make sure it went. And he was right there. Didn't have to spur him in the neck. And I thought I'd show off a little bit, and that was wrong because I had my foot out him when he stumbled. My head went down, and he come up and hit me right here. And I had 11 hours of facial surgery after that. Thought I'd knocked my eyeball out. If it knocked me out, it wouldn't have bothered me, but I hung up. And that was the end of my bull riding career as a real bull rider because I grew up a really tough bull rider. But if you ain't got that heart and drive and desire and don't think he can't throw you off, you don't need to be entering a bull ride, except for the money. So if I couldn't win first, second, or third on a bull, I just turned him out. Roy knows that. I ain't gonna waste my time. What I was saying was keep your foot on the gas. There's no such thing as bucking off and show me the money. That's just what my philosophy was. And I rode barebacks with click and rouse. And they hated that. Boy, did they hate that. But they didn't understand. Them cowboys taught me a little something about horses. This crest of the neck up here. If you can hit that crest, their head will go down. And if you keep that head down, he'll buck in front of the chute like he should with his head down. It's like, well, them click and rouse, some of them don't like it, especially when you mash it real hard and they're going bzz, bzz. So I just let them laugh at me all they want. And I put my money in their pocket. So, they always call me click and rouse and zingers and rocket rouse and all these kind of snide comments, but the PRCA hated them. And I wasn't about to change because I won too much money with them. And they never stopped to figure it out. So, it's what them old cowboys taught me. They didn't figure out a lot of stuff about cowboy. You don't have announcers announcing rodeo like championship wrestling. That loudspeaker's too loud for the babies. It's too loud for the horses. And you don't have bombs and rockets going off and smoke in the air and the horses are in the chute washing out with sweat behind their ears. That's my bucking horse in the chute. They're going to piss me off because I want the best trip I can get out of it. Las Vegas, worst thing ever happened rodeo. Oklahoma City used to have a real rodeo. Now they rope milk pin calves in 3 seconds. You know what I'm talking about. Short barrier, short 14-second, 13-second barrier. That ain't rodeo. Horse can't even get running in that time. I'm just saying like it is. And now these belts and everything else made in China, Nakona, Justin, Mexico. You need to put a little weight down and demand that we get Western wear made from real cowboys. Not somebody that don't know come here from Sikkim about leather wear or what a breast guard is supposed to be like or a saddle built or something like that. It ain't right. Things are going south in a hurry. But back to where I grew up was these old-time cowboys. And they taught me a lot of things. If the horse comes in that chute and he's got a blue eye, it's like your saddle horse. You look in the glint of the sun, you see that blue eye. Everything's copacetic and outside. It's all right. He's an old campaigner. And I'm going to slow down here a little bit because I can't hardly breathe. I'm like an old Joe Walsh song. The drinker you got, the smoker you get. So, and so they run him in the chute. He's got a red glint eye. You ever seen a red glint in a horse's eye? Anybody? Besides blue, you seen red? Nobody here seen a red glint in a horse's eye in the sun? My God. Red means the horse is scared. But you got to look for it, see it, and you'll see that red glint. And they say, well, you got to go easy with him, pull him easy, roll him up. It's the main thing, roll him up and get him acclimated. May have to stick cotton in his ear because that championship announcer wrestler, announcers, the mic's too loud for him. But go easy with him, you might win some money. If not, he's going to run off. Now, if they run a horse and there's a guy, you ever seen a green eye in a horse? Green glint? Anybody's seen a green glint in a horse's eye. Even horseshoers in here. Well, some horses, James, you've seen it. Okay. I know you have. You're a horseman. Green glint means he's mad, and you might as well forget about it. And he ain't gonna be no getting over it till, don't cross him, don't boss him, just wait till tomorrow, maybe he'll ride on again kind of deal. Because you got to realize he's gonna bite you, he's gonna paw you, he's gonna flip over on you, he's gonna kick you when you get off, and lots of other things if he can get away with it because he's mad. But you might win some money on him too, because he's gonna buck too. But you better watch out. He'll always change leads 3 or 4 times, and he'll always reach back and get your boot while you're riding him, because he's madder than damn it. And they don't teach you that in 101 rodeo. They don't teach you when you run him in the box if he's got a counterclockwise swirl. You know what a swirl is? Counterclockwise? That means he's left-footed. Oh my, did you know that? Well, them old cowboys know. And what you want to know in rodeo, most arenas with left-hand deliveries, because 75% of your horses are left-handed horses. What you don't expect when they run that left lead horse on the right-hand chute, on the right-hand delivery, he's going to go out there and he's going to switch leads with you. Look at all them boys that I have far. They'll be spurring the hair off of them. That horse switches leads and they just fall off. You'll see it. You watch close enough. They didn't never know it's coming. But a horse changes his leads and his back feet. And that's why I rode with my eyes closed. When I get out there, I could feel that bump. And I knew he was going the other way. Same thing with the bull. If they don't change the leads and the back feet, they can't turn. And a lot of bulls try to turn without changing leads, and that's why they go like that. They pancake because they ain't changed leads in the back. Anyhow, I'm getting off on rabbit trail. Nobody cares about bull riding. I'm just glad to be here. But I gotta stop. I gotta tell a few more stories because I promised Si I would. And you see, I'm an analytical person. I try to figure out how to win money, whether it's Dr. Bell's or High Life or dog collars or snuffers. Or a snuffer is what you're telling horses. If he balls, he's going to change lead and he's going to kick out straight. So we only give him snort off his nose. So you put a snuffer on him, and that's a bandana over his nose where he's got to snuff it. Or you take what you call a shadow roll, like a racehorse, and you tie you an old heavy halter. A lot of them old halters, them old bronc riders are smart, had sheepskin on them. But you can tie a piece of leather, make that sheepskin stick out here, and they got to get their head down to see where their front feet are, and they buck better. Belling wire works good too if they're too fast. You can tighten it up and slow them down. I'm just telling the truth. Dr. Bell's works real good on bulls and horses, but you got to have a squirt gun. And Dr. Bell's is an adrenaline stimulant. When they've been hauled too long in diesel smoke, or it's the 3rd time out for that night, Charlie Plummer, he bucked some of them 3 times in a row. You might have to get that squirt gun out of High Life or Dr. Bell's and see if you can't give that bull a little bit. It takes a couple of drops. And he's either going to buck like hell, or the horse, he's going to buck like hell or run like hell. You got 2 options. So they don't sell it no more. You got to go to Canada to get it. And, I went to my first Butler rodeo. Benny Butler hated me anyhow. I don't know why, but he did. I didn't like him either. But and he bought a horse off of, oh my gosh, Berners Johnson one time. And he said, he found out Berners had fistula. And Benny, he didn't even know what fistula was. He didn't catch it here, he didn't know what fistula withers are. It's why we don't have a bunch of it as much as they're pulling these horses too damn tight. And that's another thing that ain't cowboy. I was the reason bareback riding went downhill. In '77, when I actually won a world's championship, I got disqualified for slapping a spin horse in the back of my hand from a jealous-hearted man named Roy Smith. It cost me a world's champion my rookie year because the rookie could still win the world. And I made the comment about stormy weather, Steiner's. He had just enough drop to make him fun, which I was just telling the truth. I usually bad about that. But I had some Gary Tucker drop D's, and they don't understand. You pull a horse loose enough, you lift that rigging up in the front, but it's compound leverage. You rear back hard enough, it tightens up. But you want to pull a horse loose, not too loose where it goes over his head, but not too tight he can't buck. But they're pulling these horses so tight nowadays. They look like they're colicking, all mouth quenched up and ears pinned back, and they're leaping through the air and kicking straight out. It looks real dramatic because they're covering about 40 feet. But you want a bucking horse to put his feet down and get his head down and stay in one spot. You don't want a leaper. It makes real dramatic pictures. But it also strains you out, and then it pours your arm into it. Lots of other things ain't too good for a bareback rider. And if he changes leads, most of them fall off because they got that rigging too far back and pulled too tight. Now, I ain't cowboy. But stormy weather was the reason, because Jack Ward wanted to keep his wedges. Where's Jack? Hold your head up. He wanted to keep his wedges and his swedges, and it's kind of trade-off. Them contractors, those a bit smarter than us bareback riders, they figured if they can't throw us off, they'll jerk us off. So they said, we'll standardize, if you'll standardize the D's, we'll give you your wedges under the handhold. Bareback riding's been going downhill ever since. You got to pull them tight enough, because they're only pulling about this much body in a horse. You don't pull it tight enough, it's going to roll or go over his head. And it ain't going to set up on the withers where it's supposed to, because it pulls dead center. You got to have that pull in the back where you put that front end up on a braking point and lift on it like a bareback rider. And all that horse can do is land, get her, jump, and kick. But that cost me $50,000 at Calgary. That's another story. I couldn't win the world and go to college rodeo, because Roy don't even know this. I got the best college scholarship. Maybe I shouldn't tell it. Leon's not alive anymore, is he? I got $12,000 a year, and I was making more money than Dennis Rodman. And I said, if I'm going to, really it was wisdom. Roy Quigley taught me, and I seen how they screwed me in '77, and I don't tell all of it, okay. I seen how they done screwed me in the finals because I was out of the IRA. And I said, well, let's just make sense. Let's make sure I'm going to have some money to live on. And so I'd go 52, 57 rodeos. My college is what kept me alive, but I had to work 4 events. I'd never rode a saddle bronc in my life, excuse me. I had to ride saddle bronc, dog steers, ride bull, ride bareback, and make all the college shows. Well, that first finals at Lake Charles, I'd pulled my groin almost in 2, and I couldn't ride bulls. And I called Betty Gale to draw me out. I can't even walk. She said, I can't do that. I said, well, I can't ride. So I went ahead and wound up riding. I got 360 points out of 500 points for the team, won the bareback riding. And the funny story is, in the dogging, we just got started with this catfish horse that year. And it took 3 people to dog with him, 2 to hold him in and 1 to make sure that steer come out, because if it didn't come out, you're going to break the barrier. And you didn't want to nod your head too big, about like that, not much, because he's like a runaway freight train. 3 years of college rodeo it took to make that horse. And I went out there, and I thought I was 3-4, but Earl Coon, who was in California, and their bareback rider, said, no, he was 3-2. You was 3-2, and I was 3-2. And we should have kept our mouth shut. And I said, why is that? Well, he said, well, you made them bulldoggers mad. 3-2 didn't even place. A 2-9, 2-3 flats, and a 3-1 won it. Because me and Earl's down there saying, well, look how these bareback riders showed them doggers how to do it. So we learned to keep our mouth shut. But so I said I'd tell this story because it happened to me out here at the Southeastern practice spin where they team rope dogging steers. You don't want to team rope the dogging steers, and that's bad for them. So I had tried to throw this steer, and he'd locked up on me, and I stuck the horn all the way through my stomach muscles into my back muscles. Didn't even make a hole out there in the Durant Arena. And I come up, I felt it for 20 years. You could kind of like stick your finger in here, Dalton Thomas, and go all the way to my back. But I come up with the idea of a leather vest because I love steer wrestling. And see, Jimmy Cleveland is a fictitious name. He's a legal fictitious person because the guy who's Cleveland was a Cherokee Indian and adopted me, never got me on the roll. But real dad's name was Alan D. Watley. He was the first cousin of Todd Watley. And my birth certificate's Jimmy Allen Watley. And everybody told me to change my name when I got in PRC. I didn't see the wisdom of that. What difference does Watley make over Cleveland? But I was born down in Kingston. Granddad's first game ranger on Lake Texoma. Had it all to himself after World War II. Homer Paul said, I'll give you any job you want in Oklahoma, and you're senator. He said, I want to be game ranger because he knew that whole lake before they flooded it. And they gave him a cabin cruiser all to himself in Oklahoma side, big old giant cabin cruiser. He never found anybody for not having a fishing license because Raymond Berry and Robert Kerr and all them politicians want to come down there and spotlight deer and telephone fish. And he says, you know, it's the biggest crooks in the world. I said, well, it don't take me long to figure that out either. So my granddad had a bait shop there in Kingston and moved to Hollis, where it's really, that's another sad story because my great-granddaddy moved up into Greer County, Texas, not Oklahoma, when he moved there. It was, well, where I come from, used to be Texas. And the Salt River was the border. And all that down below, because my granddaddy had the water rights, was my granddaddy's water, was his ranch, which is about all Harmony County. Until they decided to change it to Oklahoma and took all his ranch land away, and he had to homestead it, because he had 12 kids. But he ran in the House of Representatives 13 years with a third-grade education and run against Alfalfa Bill Murray for governor and got beat. And Clem McStadden asked me one time, who's your kinfolks? And I said, W.T. Cunningham. He said, I've read every bill that old man ever wrote. He put most of the law in Oklahoma. So I got a rich heritage on a lot of things that people don't even know about. But it don't make no difference. It don't change anything. But I really do like this. I wasn't expecting that. And like I said, I wasn't expecting a few people being here. And I feel very honored. And I'm sure glad I come.
Jimmy, as a rodeo historian, somebody that loves everything, I love those stories. I loved every bit of that right there. And to you, Mr. Ward, man, congratulations to both of you guys. And
I've got one more story to tell.
well,
I'll stay right here and tell it. When I first got to PR, she said, Johnny gave it up to me. I wasn't riding bulls no more. He said, oh, I always heard you was a better bull rider than me. I said, well, no, I guess we'll never know. And I said, don't trouble your bull ride, you got to have 7 hats. He said, why is that? He said, your head's never the same size as you today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's congratulate our 2018 Southeastern Oklahoma State University Rodeo Hall of Fame inductees. 2 guys that are very, very, very should be in this Rodeo Hall of Fame. And so, without further ado, Christy, tell them what we're going to do.
We're going to draw now for a raffle before everybody gets gone. I'm going to have Zane. We deleted it down to 3. I don't know who's in here, but I'm going to have him draw. The first one is going to be the raffle. There's 3 trips. One's to the Lazy timed event. Just come draw one of these out. I don't know.
Look away.
This is to the Lazy E trip, Marty and Cindy Kuckelhan. And I don't think they're here, but they got that. The next trip is going to be an American trip to the American. This one is Rodney Glenn. Okay, he's here. All right, and then the last one ticket left. I don't know if you can get this. Will Martin, my GA, get to go to Las Vegas, which I think you probably earned that. Vegas trip. Wow. Okay, that's it. Thank you. I'm gonna turn it back over to Jody.
All right, I've got a few more things I want to point out to everybody. I want to remind everybody some important dates. Tomorrow, Saturday, November 10th, 2018, 1 p.m. is the Southeastern Alumni Betty Gale Cooper Ratliff Rodeo at Durant Arena. Then Sunday, November the 11th, 2018, Southeastern will host the Women's Professional Rodeo Association Betty Gale Cooper Ratliff timed event with RFD-TV's The American Breakaway Qualifier included with that event. Southeastern Rodeo will pick up back in competition the 3rd week in February at Kansas State University. And then, please follow. Listen to me. I know everybody in here, including Rodney Bowman, I know y'all know what social media is. That was funny, my attempt at being funny. So be sure and follow on Twitter, Instagram, at Southeastern Oklahoma State University Rodeo Team Facebook for the upcoming online auction within the next 2 weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you support the Southeastern Rodeo State University Rodeo Team.
Can you auction something off?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Roy just came up to me and he's got four tickets to the NFR on Sunday. Is that right? He wants us to auction them off. If Jody will, we'll do it. It's not planned, but I don't want to turn it down. Is that possible? Okay. All right.
It's possible.
4.
Okay, 4 tickets. Do what?
Sunday. Start at 400. First weekend.
All right, 4 tickets to the NFR. What's the date? Do what?
Okay. What day is it? The 9th. 9th on Sunday.
The 9th on Sunday. The 9th on Sunday, and I'm on the money at 400. All right, who'll give me 450? You better get out 450, now 500. You better get out 5 at the moment, the 5. You better get out 500. You better get out 5. You better get out 5 at the moment, the 5. You better get out 5. You better get out 475. You better get out 475 at the moment, the 475. 450 right there. Ma'am, you give me 500. Now 525. You better get out 525 at the moment, the 525. You better get out 525. You better get out 525. Where better get out 525? 525. 525. Dalen, you're out. $525. You better get out 525 at the moment, the 525. You better get out 525. 525. Where better get out 525? 525. Ma'am, I'm gonna sell out to you $500, and then you will get with that lady right there. With that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out and supporting tonight. And make sure that you continue to support this rodeo team and all these great things that they got going on. But I want you to do me one more favor. Your rodeo team coach, Christy Broderick, let's put our hands together for that lady, because I think she is so awesome.